So I always say to people, the wrong, another inch, they would have shot him. Well, another inch, they could have shot us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and again, why it's so personal. Like, I live in Butler. I share a fence with the farm show. I'm also very involved in the community. I work for the school district. I'm a Girl Scout leader. I'm a mom. So that's kind of why I'm here. It's not political to me at all. It's truly not political. It is 100% about the kids, the safety, and the long-term effects mental health-wise. I spent 20 years working in mental health prior to this, and the side effects and the long-term effects of all this are very significant, and something that's not something that anybody's paid attention to, or so I feel. So that is why this is so important. Again, it's not political for me at all. It quit being political the day that my kids were laying on the ground at the fence.
It became personal.
Yeah, it's a mom and protecting my kids and the community they live in.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Well, I respect that completely, because you're the first that's brought up this angle. Everybody's like, I'll just, what happened? Which I'm interested in too.
Right,
if you
right.
were there, I'd like to know, what you witnessed, whatever you'd like to share. But I appreciate that you're focusing on. And I listened to your interview with KDKA, and that was, you did well. You did very well. You said about, some things that kind of disturbed me, about your kids. I think you were speaking about.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
No, thank you.
But could you tell me a little bit about your experiences that day, and kind of just whatever you'd like to share about.
Well, the day of that event, as I told KDKA, we planned on going to the event. We went with a few colleagues of mine at the that I work with, and so we took the walk. There was only one entrance into the farm show, so we walked about 2 miles to get into there. We hung out in the parking area with some friends and checked out the vendors and different things there. Got something to eat, and everything was a normal day.
It was just a beautiful day, wasn't it?
It seemed like a car cruise or just a family event. It was, there was the thing that sticks with me the most, and again, another reason why I even bring these things to the forefront for me is that there were little kids there. There was a lot of physically and I'm sure emotionally compromised people there.
On my way out, I picked up a paralyzed guy and helped get him back in his wheelchair. Old people were, struggling. You had these people that were out in the heat all day, and then all of a sudden they go through something that most people will never experience again in their lives.
Right.
So yeah, the adrenaline was pumping. It was chaotic.
So we were in line waiting to go through security, and my oldest daughter, she has respiratory issues, and so she started turning kind of like a yellowish color, and we could tell something was wrong. And I said, honey, just tell me if you're done. It's fine. Like, this is not that important to me. Again, not political. So this was for their experience, and at that point they felt, if she felt she needed to go, I was fine with that. There was no reason for us to have to stay. So anyway, on the way out, she's like, I think I'm gonna fall. And she kind of slid down me and sat on the ground. And she kind of slid down me, and I had found state police, and I said they were on a golf cart, and I said, what can I do to get to that side of the fence? I can see my house, but I still have to walk 2 miles to get this little girl home. What can I do? So they put us in the golf cart, and they're like, we'll get you through the entrance that's by my house. Well, it was padlocked. That's the only thing that was on there was a padlock. So he had said, well, you can't get through the padlock. I'm not cutting it. We'll take you home. So she came home and she rested. I, did all the mom things, and she was kind of disappointed she wasn't going to be able to be a part of it. So I said, we'll do the next best thing. We'll go stand at the fence and we'll watch it. They made their little signs, hi, President Trump, whatever, and we stood there. And then it was late, obviously 6, whatever, I don't know the exact, but President Trump had came. He was the motorcade was within arm distance of me.
That's awesome.
Like I could tell you for certain which vehicle
you
he
could
was
see
in.
Into the...
I could tell you, and then to the left is the staging area, right to the left of the farm show, or to the fence is the staging area. That was where they kept the, all the people that would be talking. It's where they provided restrooms and drinks and things like that for them. So we were we were really really close. I mean, besides the first couple rows of the stage and some media, I mean, we were a different angle than most seen, which
Oh,
is
yes.
very important. But also much closer, and where those people, and I say it all the time, where that, that big crowd, they're in there like sardines.
Oh, yeah.
We had open area to move our head to look, and we were very aware of the aftermath before anybody else did know. My girls were also, and I were able to witness President Trump leaving and had seen the blood. And I mean, my daughter specifically will say, I seen the blood of the Secret Service on their coats. Like,
Yeah.
that was how close we were. I mean, it was insane. And then after all of that happened and the shots had happened, my fear was don't run because they'll think it's me.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept my girls kind of tied up against the fence with the trees, and because again, nobody knew where it was coming from, what
Yeah.
it was. So when we found it safe and felt it was okay to leave after President Trump had left, we're like, oh, we're good. We'll get them home and get them safe. We had got in the house, and no more than 2 minutes later, there were people climbing over my fence trying to just get safe because nobody
Scared.
knew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So jumping over the fence, people were, because the fence kind of borders our whole neighborhood. I mean, every end of the fence was being jumped to just get out.
Oh, yeah, people were.
Yeah, and
afraid.
people were sitting in my yard just crying, holding. There was a husband and wife, and he's like hiding behind my trees, and he's like, I just wanted to get her safe.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like, and they were just so emotionally exhausted
Oh, yeah.
that they just needed somewhere to sit. And
Yeah.
at that point, I was just like, I'd love to help you, but I have nothing to give. Like,
Yeah.
and again, is it safe? Is it not safe? I mean.
Do we know? Yeah.
Nothing. So, and then obviously the aftermath started, where helicopters are landing and media is here, and I said on the news today, I don't know why, but must be something that people type in. I don't know if they type in Brady Paul or what they do, but even the law enforcement after the fact, there were people that they had asked for extra services were all flying up my lane, like that was
Because that's where the GPS
that
guides
must have
them.
been taking them. So yeah, it didn't. I don't know if maybe because of the traffic issues on 68. I don't know the reason behind it, or maybe location of where they were coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was.
Well, even if GPS doesn't guide you there, you're bound to probably
Right.
see a lot more traffic just because of the
Right.
nature of the event. Like I think you said in your interview, you had, was it a lady from New York or?
Yeah, there was a lady from New York. I mean, she said, I forget, 80-some years old.
God
and
bless her.
Brought an entire carload of people.
Oh my goodness.
And
it's
I asked,
historical, so
yeah.
you get,
Yeah.
I get that, but
I always equivalent it. My husband has said to me, it's like Benazet, where people go up there,
Yep.
and you're distracting people, you're interrupting their life, their homes, their
Yep.
property,
Yep.
and you don't think of it that way until it's your home and your property.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Well, did you get anywhere? Because I know you did speak with a representative yesterday. Did you get anywhere with that sort of thing? Because I know that you're kind of trying to resolve this a little bit, at least the traffic going up and down your street
Right.
needlessly.
Not really. Anybody that I've been able to get contact with have been outside of our district.
Yeah.
They've relayed that information. I've not talked to anybody within our district that is capable or able to do a whole lot for us.
and
I did reach out to the state police. As I said, I'm a Girl Scout leader, so we had done an event with Trooper Casey. She's the head of public security up
Okay.
at Butler State Police Barracks, and she did provide that day that I spoke to her. I did notice a police presence up and down the road, maybe hourly or something, but after that it stopped.
fell off.
It
Yeah.
stopped. And I do
Expectedly,
I
yeah.
expect random cars. I do, but like I said, roughly 75 to 100 throughout an entire day, every day, on a no outlet.
And I'm sure that will calm down over
Absolutely,
time.
yeah.
But for now,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't think that there's going to be much that anybody's going to
Right.
do for that. Just because
It is public property.
that's the thing, is it's a public right of way.
Right.
And unless you guys gate that off and say it's now a private community, I don't know how.
Well,
and I don't
and-
even know how you could do. I don't know.
Well,
all
and
that
the
stuff.
big thing is like the farm show grounds. The lane I live on is owned by
They
the farm
own
show
it, okay.
grounds, so it is not a public right of way.
Okay,
It is
okay.
owned by them, and we had tried to put different things in place, like a saddle horse and different things like that. Media moved it. Media moved it, people moved it.
Yeah.
Like nobody, everybody just wanted that money shot. And even to this point, when they come up the lane, I'm like, what are you looking for? There's
Yeah.
truly nothing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what are you looking for? And
Yeah.
I'm like, the farm show happens in 2 weeks. Go stand there all day. There's nothing.
You can walk all around,
yeah,
man.
there's nothing you're gonna see here.
It's all been gone already.
Yeah,
Yep.
and as you look
So-
out now, media's still out there.
Oh,
What
yeah,
are you
no
looking
doubt.
at?
Now, is there still a bunch of equipment and pieces of stage and
No.
bleachers left? Everything is out.
Yeah, yeah.
I did talk to, I know the feller that owned the cranes and they wouldn't let him put his booms down. He's like, that's a brand new crane. I need to put that down. Nope, you're not doing it. It's like, well, you need to buy me a new crane.
Yeah, my husband actually, he does stagehand work as well as a
Okay.
side job in Pittsburgh, and he was called to tear down all of that last week.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I just can't. I don't want you up there. I don't want the girls to worry about you.
Yes,
Obviously,
yes.
there's not a threat, but there's still a lot of
But
movement.
it's still the
yes, and the
thinking
visual.
behind
Yes,
it.
yes. But yeah, I mean, I know because of that they did go and clean that all up.
Okay.
So as far as I know, we're back to getting ready for the
Normal and
farm
getting
show.
ready for the farm
Yeah.
show. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
May I ask, what do you think we can do to kind of bring normalcy back to our politics, our nation, get rid of the division and the polarization? Do you have any thoughts there?
I mean, honestly, as far as politics, I have my personal views, and
everybody does.
I keep them private. That's not something I need to talk about. I do feel like, and this has been something I've noticed a lot on social media, is all of the memes of "ha ha ha, you missed me."
Listen, even the
all you're
videos
doing-
I've posted, I've
Yeah.
had plenty of people, one of which I engaged with and shouldn't have, and I apologize, I shouldn't say all this, and
Yeah.
but it's sick.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think people should be criminally charged
Yeah.
for saying things like
Yeah.
that. Like, there is no room or place for that in the USA,
Well, and
as
again,
far as I'm concerned.
working in mental health, I mean, my thing is, you're calling the bluff of a bunch of other people that think the same way this shooter did.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not. All you're doing
Is perpetuating
is
that.
making us another spectacle to other countries. But you're also putting us in danger of somebody completing the task that you're making fun of not being completed.
Amen.
So that again, I mean, it's all of that, and like I said, mine is the mental health aspect. And not to make light of it, when we have a kid that passes away, when we have something tragic that happens in this community, we do, forums, we do events, we do resources. I've not seen any of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to be rude, I should have been the first one notified. But, and the truth is, I do. I mean, I feel like, had I been in a position to be able to go around, like I worked for, any kind of resources, I would have been out there.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's been out there.
Yeah.
Nobody's, and it's not so much, we can't change anything that happened.
No, of
We
course
can
not.
change how we focus after,
Amen.
what we
How
can
we
do
move on.
after, and the legacy that we leave Butler, after the fact. Like, we were resilient. We went to, the competitors were very well loved and taken care of in the community by everybody and appreciated for his sacrifice.
Amen.
And, that's what we should be focused on.
I agree.
And we have done well with the competitor family, and the nation as a whole has, but there's way more victims than that. And I'm not making light of that.
Amen. Oh no. Amen.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, my wife and I were there, and
Yeah.
you said the story about the people in the yard. Now, granted, we weren't that worked up, but I never swear, never.
Yeah.
And it was like, I used the F word that day.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
After we picked up, because my wife helped me pick up that paralyzed guy and get him back in his wheelchair, and I told her, I said, I don't give a fuck who else needs help. You keep going towards
Yeah.
my Jeep. Because I was worried about her. That was
Right, absolutely.
my only concern was her.
And when
it
you
was like,
add that dynamic, and again, that's where I'm coming from, is
Yeah.
I'm a mom of 2 little
Amen.
kids.
And that's even worse.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, just a little backstory, like with me, I worked on a psych unit for 20 years. I was attacked by a psych patient there. I've had 22 surgeries in the last 5 years to rebuild what this man has taken from me.
I'm so sorry.
And I've struggled with PTSD already.
amen, yeah.
And that's a part of how my girls struggle, is, the side effects of the media and everybody when this happened. I mean,
Yes.
this was on the news as well, my
Yes.
arm. And then to add that, this on top of that, which obviously a freak accident, whatever. But I mean, I know personally, and again, where the movement came for me is I called my doctor's office and I was like crying already. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to live another day. if I keep getting stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just that incident, it was 2 incidents for me,
Yeah.
which amplified it to a whole different level for me. And I was on the phone, and God bless the lady for Butler, the doctors that I have, the lady was crying, and she's like, honey, can I put you on hold? And she said, I talked to the director here. She's like, we're going to get you in over the lunch break. She's like, you're just in no position to wait.
Oh, yeah.
But the truth is, 95% of the people that call today and say I'm from Butler and need help are going to wait.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes a minute's a lot, and sometimes a couple days is too long.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
again, that's where I become so passionate about this. Is I can't change politics. I can't change any of these things, but I can change, the future and try to be a voice for the future.
Amen.
And
we can talk to each other. I think this is the biggest way that we come together.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, I'm so, and this is my opinion, I'm so tired of not, and you said you keep your politics to yourself. I'm a religious man too, and my religion, I believe, calls for me to, in love, to try to give people truth. And apart from that, I believe the same should go for all walks of life. And so I wish that we could come together and learn that it's wonderful to talk to each other, even though we may disagree with things and have certain beliefs that are different. I guarantee you, if people took the time to sit down like this more often, we'd find we share so much more in common than what we may think.
Absolutely.
And it's always wonderful to me because I talk to everybody. I talk to anybody. I love talking to people. I could sit here and talk to you all day about things like this. But what gets me is people just need to just understand that we're all just people. We're all just human.
Yeah.
Like the whole Trump thing. Did that shooter Crooks, look at him as just merely a political figure, the policies he stood for, the things he said, or what everybody says about him? We don't know. But it's like, what drives people to do things like that?
Right.
It's like, is it the media? Did the media play a part? Possibly. I think there's big problems in our media today.
And absolutely, and that's where the conspiracy theories and the doubts come in,
Yes.
is people having to come up with their own conclusions
Oh,
of
yeah.
things.
Amen.
And like I said, it's sad, but the biggest part of all of this is how Butler can show that we overcame it.
How do we bounce
how
back
did we
from
do
this?
better? How did we learn? And a lot of that starts with love.
Amen.
And the love was not shown, or I don't feel it was shown to the people that needed it.
Yeah.
And again, working in mental health, as I continue to repeat, these kids could show effects in 2 or 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
They could show it in 10 years.
Yep.
But if you're not educated to know what that is and what to look for,
Then you'll never see it until it's too late.
You're missing it, and we're going to have a whole another era of COVID kids and Trump rally kids in this area that are either alcoholics, drug addicts, or God forbid, another shooter.
Amen.
And again, I don't think that it's emphasized enough of how important this is.
I agree with you completely. And I think that a lot of it's going to be up to the parents.
Yeah.
To realize that, hey, my kids went through this and they need help.
Yeah.
They let's go talk to people about this. 'Cause
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest problems, and that's why when I invite people for interviews, I don't push people, because I understand hey, not everybody wants to relive this. Not everybody
Right.
wants to go back through this and talk about it, and that's completely understandable. But for those that do, I do feel that talking about it is better than bottling it up.
Yeah, I feel that way too, and I feel doing nothing is a disservice as well.
Amen.
So,
As far as, to get back to the actual event, as far as just details, because there's so many questions about, things that actually happened. Do you remember anything about the shots? Do you remember, what did you see? Anything?
I remember them being very different in sound. Significantly different. And again, our view, is it fireworks? We don't know, because
I heard a lot of people say we thought it was firecrackers
Yeah.
at first. Like,
Yeah.
some kids with firecrackers, and then they realized how horribly wrong they were.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was just like, okay. But yeah, they were all very different, and and as odd as it seems, in the chaos that you see on the news, there was still a calming of it when it happened. I don't know how to explain it other than there was a calming. And again, I'm not in the crowd; I'm watching the crowd.
Yeah.
And there was a calming of just, everybody's okay, but nobody's okay.
Yes. You couldn't have said it better than what you just said. Everybody's okay, but not everybody's okay.
Yeah.
because it's so true. I was in the crowd, and I've interviewed people that were in black chairs right behind the podium. I interviewed somebody that was right next to Corey. Really bad things that they saw, and they're deeply affected like that, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
But we were in the crowd, and like you said at first, and what was crazy, I was watching the sniper team on the roof before they shot.
They were directly across from us.
Yeah, and basically, like, you know, the whole time they, which they were interesting. So I would watch them from, they're up there scanning with their binoculars, taking turns, and then all of a sudden, I look over and I'm like, oh, sniper's on his belly with his gun, scoping something. I'm like, what's going on? And I was gonna say something to my wife, and then before I thought about it, it was, he started shooting.
Yeah.
We weren't sure that we ever heard the shooter's shots. We heard those sniper shots, and I swear he shot like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I couldn't even begin to tell you numbers. I mean, like...
And that's where, like, I made a video, and I'm like, he shot 4 times. I was watching him, and now I'm second-guessing myself. Was it maybe 2 or 3? I know he shot more than once.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
But 4, I might be, because it all happened so fast.
It did.
And it was like, we were standing there, and I grabbed my wife. I was more concerned about getting run over with, people running at first. And, yeah, it was the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And I run with the fire department, so I see bad things all the time, but
Yeah.
I've never been involved in an active shooting event before. That's a little different,
Right. Well, and I know it haunts me to this day where I said the weeks before, just seeing the movement and everything up there, and I said, this is the safest my community has been as long as I've lived here.
Yeah.
And how untrue that was, like, and had as a parent ever thought for a minute, there was any chance of anything happening, my kids would have never been there.
Yeah, amen.
But it was like-minded people. It was, how could the Secret Service fail us at that? Like, how is this? Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, like you could have never expected that could have been
So-
even an option to think about.
The building where the shooter was at, where is that in vicinity to where you live?
The shooter is directly across the field from us at this point.
Okay.
Directly, like
Wow.
the shooter's straight ahead of us. Then we're obviously opposite of them, and Trump was in between both of us to the left of us.
So you were in between.
Right.
Everything.
So I always say to people, the wrong another inch they would have shot him. Well, another inch they could have shot us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and again, why it's so personal
Amen.
is
There was a lot of things that could have been different.
Yes.
And I think of
And it was so lax. I mean, when I say a car cruise, I mean it even as far as security.
Oh, yeah.
Even to the left of us at the Brady Paul, it looked like a bunch of football player dads watching a football game.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it was not, and I said too, like when the motorcade came in, my thought is, and again, I'm dumb, but my thought is, if President Trump is this close to all these unknown people,
Yes.
there should be somebody watching this.
Oh, yeah.
And again, far from wanting to hurt anybody, but all it took me was something to break that lock and get,
And you're in.
and I would have been way closer than the shooter.
Yep.
And nobody
And
had
probably
any
unnoticed.
exactly. Between the trees and next to the fence was a police vehicle that blocked it.
Yeah.
So I had a blind eye. The snipers couldn't shoot either over the motorcade to get me,
Yeah.
and there was an Allegheny Health Network big box truck. They couldn't have shot over that to get me. There was a complete blind spot, and had I had ill intentions, I had a better chance of doing something to the
Than what
president than
Crooks
anybody
did.
else.
Yeah.
And then again, hindsight's always 20/20. But you just realize when people have made comments about how lax the security was, and
How
you look
truly
back,
lax
how
it
truly
was.
accurate that was.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even I went to take one of my tripods, and we looked up what can we take, and it said you weren't allowed to take that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, we won't try that. So we went through security, and I've got a big Australian Shepherd, and we've got him trained on a shock collar. I never use a shock; it's just audible beep, and he comes running. But I had that controller for it in my pocket and forgot, and I got there to security, and I said to my wife, I said, oh no, they're gonna take this. And I showed it to the guy, and he's like, what is that? And I explained to him what it was, and I forgot it in my pocket. He's like, oh, I don't care about that. I mean, it could have been a detonator, it could have been, but what, okay, I got in with that. Crooks got in with a rangefinder, and then they lost him.
Yeah.
It boggles my brain.
Yeah.
Just, I'm excited. And it'll probably be like the JFK stuff. It won't be declassified for 30, 40 years. We won't know the exact, what happened. But I really want to know, how the heck did they lose sight of that guy?
Yeah,
You
right,
know, I
right.
mean, it's bad enough they let him in with a rangefinder, and you know, I don't get
Yeah.
it. I don't.
Well, and again, the Secret Service are the best of the best, and that roof over there, we're looking at it right now. I mean, you and I heard in the congressional hearing, you could build a handicap ramp on that.
Oh yeah, I watched a video today.
Yes.
Well, actually, when Cheadle testified in front of the House Oversight Committee, that is what one of the
Yeah,
what
yes.
the go back to the Doritos comment came from was
Yeah, yeah.
basically he's like, look, he explained, he's like you just said, there's handicap ramps that are built with more of a slope than what that roof had.
Yeah.
You know.
And you look at it, and again, I mean, I watched Congress climate yesterday.
Yeah.
And no issues. I mean.
Well, and it wasn't long after they got the body out of there that there was on social media the pictures surfacing where the guy's up there with a hose hosing down that roof. It's like,
Yeah.
now that's unsafe.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
it's wet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just, I mean, when I look at it and just how laxed it was, based on the climate of the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm ashamed as a parent that I did make my girls go there.
But
again, I
mean,
didn't know, but I mean, you put so much trust in the government, and you should. I mean, this is Secret Service, and this is a
they're
president.
supposed to be the best security force in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Yeah, you can, I mean, if you're protecting the president, you can protect my kids,
Yeah.
is my thought.
Yeah.
Clearly not the case. And
Yep.
like I said, I mean, even thinking about back when we walked into like the parking area, I didn't see one security anywhere there. I mean, again, hindsight's always 20/20, but it was very much like a car cruise. I just continue to say that.
Very lax.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to the local, parade and you see law enforcement, like that's what it was like.
Well, and I think it's because a lot of the people there were there with the best intentions.
Right, absolutely.
Except for one person,
Right.
as far as we know.
Right.
Who knows if
Who
he was
knows,
working
right.
with, we don't know any of that yet. But I had, a great time up until, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually kind of mad I didn't get to hear what else Trump had to say,
Yeah,
Like,
I've
I
heard
thought we
that
were
a
going to
lot.
hear who he was going to pick for VP that day,
Yeah.
and then it was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just such a good energy, such a beautiful day, and you never expected anything like that
Yeah.
to take place.
And it was truly a family event.
Oh,
That's, again,
yeah.
what scares me
Yeah,
is the family.
I had so much fun just talking to people while
Yeah,
I was there.
yeah.
I talked to so many. I mean, you could see how I
Yeah,
am, but I
yeah.
talked to so many people, and it's like it was just wonderful. It was amazing to be able to
peaceful.
talk to people, and not everybody agreed. That was the wonderful thing. But no, I didn't see any arguing, any fighting,
no.
any hostility. It was just a great day, and we were all there and wanted to hear what Trump had to say. He came
Yeah.
to Butler. Come on.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, I don't really know if I have any more questions. Do you have any more that you would like to share that maybe we haven't covered, or?
I mean, I guess the safety overall. I mean, obviously not just my neighborhood, but I was shocked to find out in the congressional hearing that there was a bomb by a major pipeline or gas line. I mean, that's something the public should have known.
Yeah.
And that would have made this, quite similar to 9/11.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and that's not something that was discussed.
No.
That's, everything just seems quiet when it's bad.
Yes.
I want to know the bad. I want to know the
wanna
good.
know the truth.
Yeah, I want to know. And answers can't come when we're hiding behind what's best for me.
Amen.
That's just, I mean, and that went down to, I watched the congressional hearing with Cheadle.
Mm-hmm.
You're an embarrassment.
Oh, it's so
Absolutely
bad.
an
She resigned. I think
embarrassment.
they should have fired her.
Yeah.
I don't think she should have
No.
had a chance to resign.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah,
But-
embarrassment. And honestly, I mean, I would have, I feel like she still owes an apology
You're darn
to this
right.
community,
to the country.
to the country, to
Amen.
the community. And the fact that she didn't even come here
She
is
didn't
disgusting.
even come here at all.
No, she's never been here.
Was she in Pittsburgh with? Because that was part of the excuse why they didn't have as many agents as they would have wanted, was because Jill was in Pittsburgh.
As far
and-
as my understanding from the congressional hearing, she was just not here. And they had asked her, had she been here? And no, I haven't. Again, this is where the country is. When you're a leader, you lead.
Yeah, amen. I agree with that.
And you didn't lead.
No.
You deceived and you passed the buck. and taking accountability, whether it's you, me, or her, or the president, whoever,
Yeah.
based on policy. I mean, it's imperative and important to this country for you to lead.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Lead or
so-
get out.
yeah.
And she didn't lead. She
And didn't
failed.
wanna get out,
And
yes.
and that's it. She should have just been fired. That's
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah.
But she resigned, which I don't think she had a choice.
No,
I mean,
no.
they would have. She'd have got run out. I don't
Yeah,
think that.
yeah.
I think there's enough people quite upset with her at this
I
point.
think that she ashamed herself.
Yeah.
She did no justice for herself in that situation.
So now, I know you tend to keep your politics to yourself. May I ask, because there's a lot of people on the right that are pushing that DEI kind of had an effect here. Do you think that at all? Do you think that
Not
there's...
going into it, I didn't think it. But when you look at the president and the people around him, how can a woman as tall as me protect anything but the president's belt?
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
I had that initial thought too. Yeah.
I mean, and like that's what just blows my mind is, I'm 4'11". I'm literally
short,
4
too.
4'11". I can look and I know I can defend myself. I
Yeah.
know I can stand my ground, but I also know standing next to President Trump, or even let it be a woman that height, I can do nothing for you.
Yeah.
So it does definitely question,
What were they thinking when they, had the people
and then
that
you
were...
look at the woman who couldn't even holster her gun,
Yeah.
which is very familiar to a lot of people. This is something you should be trained before you even, get through 6 weeks of this class to become somebody, and you are the best of the best, the elite of the elite.
Yes.
You know where your holster
You
is.
should know.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's
That was
disgusting.
It was kind of... God bless her. I mean, I feel so bad for her, but it's like at the same time, come on.
Yeah, I
come
mean, if
on.
you're going to be in the
And-
public eye and you're going to be somebody who protects, our important leaders.
And I don't blame her.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It's the leaders.
Yeah,
It's the ones
absolutely.
that put the people there.
yeah. I mean, they are the ones in charge of knowing that she can holster her gun.
Yes.
That's not, and again, I take some compassion and everybody's emotions were high.
yes.
Do you
Oh,
go in
yeah.
there expecting this to happen? No, but as your job, you should be prepared for it to happen.
Yes, and be able to handle it.
So, and the shock, I get it. But again, this is who we're trusting with important
president's
people.
life.
Yeah, and there's no room for error.
Amen. I agree with that. The whole DEI thing. It's like, I don't care if you're a monkey. If you can do the job better than I can, hire the monkey.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's
absolutely.
where I'm at. The whole we're gonna hire this person because of their skin color, because of they're a woman. It's like I'm so
Yeah.
against that. It's not even funny
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's ruining our institutions. It's ruining, the Secret Service. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that played a big part.
Yeah.
But all right. I think that's really it.
I appreciate it.
I
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Amanda. The politics surrounding the Trump rally have most certainly been at the forefront of most media coverage. Today's interview offered a different yet vitally important perspective: mental health, and furthermore, how we move on from this event. How do we unite as a people and say, enough's enough, this is not something that's supposed to happen in the United States of America. My interview today opened my eyes to a lot of things. People will struggle with this. It's the reality of it. This was an event that changed people's perspectives on the way that they view not just events, but America as a whole. And we need to figure out how to come together and make things better. Until next time, embrace the stories that matter.